Hello, Rama Rama Puppodu. Hope all are happy, having a healthy life, feeling very relaxed, and happy always. Let's go to chapter 29 Ajmere. At daybreak, Ramdas, rising from the place, directed his steps towards the city. When he was going through the thickly populated streets of Ajmer, knowing not where he was being led, Ramdas, in his mind, always engaged in the contemplation of Ram, a tall and stout Mohammedan, stopped Ramdas and signified Ramdas to follow him. Ramdas had no choice in such matters. He always thinks that all calls are from Ram. So, without any hesitation, he obeyed the Mohammedan guide, not knowing, neither caring to know where the friend was taking him. They walked through the streets for nearly a mile and at last stopped at an arched gate. The friend entered here closely followed by Ramdas. After passing through a courtyard and on descending some flight of steps and then going through a doorway, a beautiful masjid came into view. Going in here, Ramdas found himself in front of a huge silver mandap or tabut, domed and carved picturesquely. "This is khajapir," exclaimed the Muslim friend. "Kneel down here and enlist yourself as the chela of Mohammed." At once Ramdas knelt as bidden by him in all reverence. Then, looking up to the kind friend, Ramdas said, "Brother, there is no need of Ramdas enlisting himself here as Mohammed chela, because he had already been a chela of Mohammed. O Ram, O Mohammed, how wonderful are thy ways! In fulfillment of fervent wish of that young Muslim friend of Raipur, thou hadst led Ramdas on a visit to the sacred shrine of the Mohammedans. All glory to thee, O Ram, O Mohammed." Leading Ramdas out of this holy place, the Muslim friend left Ramdas on the main road. Soon after, Ramdas was taken up by a sannyasi named Swami Ramachandra, a man of pure and tender heart. He became greatly attached to Ramdas and undertook to look after him in every way. "O Ram, how can thy ignorant slave understand thy ways? He knows only this much. Thou art all kindness, all love." First, the Swamiji inquired in the bazaar for an Annakshetra, and having received the information and got 2 meal chits, took Ramdas over there, and after finishing meals, led him to a rest house where he shared his meager bedding with Ramdas. In spite of remonstrances from Ramdas, his kindness to the poor slave of Ram was indeed unbounded. "O Ram, it is thyself who appeared in the form of these guides to lead, feed, and take care of thy slave. Why, for that matter, Ramdas has now come to look upon all human beings, all creatures, all life, all things as nothing but the manifestation of the divine Ram, whom he is meditating upon day and night." The Swamiji and Ramdas remained in Ajmer for 3 days and then started for Pushkar Raju. Traveling on the hill for about 5 miles, they reached a fine sight of a large natural reservoir of water, on one side of which were erected temples and dharmashalas. In one of these alighted the Swamiji and Ramdas. Here Ramdas spent 5 days in the bhajan of Sri Ram. Swami Ramachandra had to stay in Pushkar Raju for some days more. So Ramdas, on Ram's behest, left the place alone for Ajmer, where he got into the society of a sadhu. Having been prevented from travelling by train by Ram's will, they walked on for about 16 miles and then got into a train. The Sadhuram, who was complaining of indigestion at Ajmer, recovered his health completely by his walk of 16 miles, receiving on the way very little food. Ram does everything for the best, At a junction named Masana, the sadhus met another sannyasi at whose suggestion they accompanied him to a station, Dharmapuri, where, alighting, they walked straight to the ashram of a sadhu residing near the mandir of Mahadev. The sadhu gave a hearty welcome to the sadhu guests and provided them with accommodation, food, etc. Ramadas was pressed to remain in that ashram for some days. But as the Sadhuram could not do so, he left the place after a stay of 2 days and proceeded on his journey. A week passed in this ashram when two sannyasis from a neighboring village came there on a visit and took over Ramdas to their ashram, which was situated in a jungle. Ramdas remained in this jungle, which is found to be the best suited for Ram Bhajan. The sannyasis were very kind to Ramdas. In this jungle, there was a small mandir of Narahari. The interior of this mandir was a perfect square to the exact measurement of Ramdas' height. With 1 or 2 hours sleep in the night, Ramdas was for the rest of the night repeating incessantly the glorious mantram of Sri Ram. Here, Ramdas proved to himself beyond any doubt that Ram protects with the greatest care the devotees who entirely trust him and depend solely upon him. The jungle was infested with wild pigs, serpents, scorpions, and other verminous creatures. Every night, a herd of about 20 to 30 wild pigs would come round the mandir, the door of which would always be open. The wild animals would come to dig out roots with their snouts from the marshy land surrounding the mandir, for these roots were their food. Ramdas was freely going out in the nights when they were about, but by Ram's grace they never harmed Ramdas. The villagers who were coming there during the day would warn Ramdas of the ferocious nature of these wild beasts. But complete trust in Ram means no fear and full protection. Moreover, during day and night, the mandir was freely visited by long black snakes, but none of them anyway molested Ramdas. Again, every morning when he lifted up the gunny or sack piece spread for him by the kind sannyasi as asan or seat, which Ramdas would also use for a bed at night, he would discover beneath it a number of reddish-yellow scorpions. But none of these stung Ramdas. O Ram, when thy loving arm is ever ready to protect thy humble slave, who could work evil on him? Thou art, O Ram, everywhere in all creatures, the whole universe, and all in it is thy own manifestation. O Ram, all glory to thee. Ramdas, by Ram's command, remained in this jungle for about a month and a half. The afternoons were mostly spent in the society of cowherd boys who would come to this forest for grazing cattle. They would play upon flutes and give Ramdas the pleasure of listening to their sweet music. These boys appeared to Ramdas as so many cheerful, active little Krishnas. By Ram's grace, the stay there proved altogether a most delightful one. On one occasion, the kind sannyasi friend took Ramdas on a visit to a village several stations away from Dharmapuri, the name of which is Yadavpur. Hence, here there was a great congregation of sadhus. They were in all about 200 sadhus. It was a feast of satsang. The beauty of it all was to observe the unstinted hospitality of the villagers. Every article of comfort which they possessed was at the disposal of the sadhus. One day Ram's command came to Ramdas to move on. Accordingly, he left the jungle against the wishes of the sannyasis, who wanted Ramdas to remain for some months more. He passed Ramdas on to the care of a merchant of the railway station, who undertook to escort Ramdas as far as the merchant travelled. An incident that took place here requires to be related now. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupodu.